Digital art is really bad for your health. Hi, I'm Rey. I'm a retired professional digital oil painter who has converted to traditional oil painting. I'm also chronically ill, so that gives me a lot of grounds to talk about this. Let's get into it. I was a professional digital oil painter for almost 10 years, but I've never been a full-time artist. That means I work a day job, and that day job is graphic design and social media managing, which means I'm spending a lot of time at a screen and at a computer as is. Most artists aren't full-time artists. That is just unfortunately how the cookie crumbles. So if you're using digital art as a hobby or a side hustle, and you're still using computers or phones as part of your day job or your regular career, then you're at a higher risk of having some of these health issues, and you may even be noticing some of them already. First things first, I'd recommend going into your phone settings and checking exactly how many hours a day you're spending looking at just your phone screen. I personally log about between 4 to 6 hours on my phone each day. That is partly because of my job, but also partly because of doom scrolling on social media because I am depressed. So take a look at those numbers for yourself and then factor in how many hours a day you might spend on a computer at work. Think about whether or not you're playing video games or watching a lot of television or YouTube. Thanks. Blue light is linked to the inhibition of production of certain chemicals in your brain, such as dopamine and melatonin. Both of those are needed to create things like happiness and your ability to sleep. So you might be having things like insomnia or even nightmares. If you're spending so much time at a screen, it probably means you're not getting up and walking around or going outside. Not only can that lead to mental health issues, but that can also lead to things like literal muscle atrophy. And you might think, that's not going to affect me. Incorrect, my child. Incorrect. It actually only takes about 2 weeks of limited activity of your body for your muscles to atrophy. Muscle atrophy is linked to feelings of fatigue, weakness, and overall lethargy. And it's just not good. It's not good to be built like a overcooked noodle. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. It's noodle activities. What are you gonna do? What is on my nose? What is on my nose? Was that there this whole time? What was that? Am I gonna leave this in? It's fine. Blue light can also contribute to severe or chronic migraines. And I want to talk about this because I didn't know this, but migraines don't always present as a splitting headache or light sensitivity or sound sensitivity. They can also present as visual snow or dark black blobs appearing sporadically in your peripheral vision. I started to have that and I genuinely thought I was losing my mind. I thought I had early onset schizophrenia. I thought I was freaking hallucinating. Saw a neurologist. Turns out just a migraine. I think we need to look at artists in a same light or a similar light as we do athletes because there's so many similarities. You get better with practice. Sometimes you need a coach. You can do it for fun. You can do it professionally. It's performative and it requires repetitive motions of your physical body, right? Carpal tunnel is a condition that affects your inside of your wrist, your forearm, but can lead to shooting pain that goes all the way up the arm and even the neck. And this can turn into a lifelong condition that can't even be resolved with surgeries if you don't take preventative action or care, or you keep working with an injured arm that already has carpal tunnel. I've had carpal tunnel numerous times in my life. It is debilitating, it is disabling, it is incapacitating, it is some of the worst pain I have ever experienced in my life, and I literally wouldn't wish it on anybody. When you're a digital artist, you may find that you are able to make art so quickly, so rapidly, so well, that you're generating sales. If you don't find yourself in this boat, then I'm sorry. However, I found myself in that boat. I made over 500 paintings digitally in a span of 3 years because I couldn't say no to the money, which a lot of us can't afford to say no to the money. For me, for instance, I'm disabled. I have 6 pets. I was living in Miami. I needed the money, so I kept saying yes. But that led to putting my body through literal extremes and exerting so much physical energy into such finely intricated finely constructed like nerves. Like this is a work of art. Whatever's happening inside of our wrist and our hand is so fine and small and important, and any little damage can, you know, compromise the integrity of your entire hand, which you need for so many things: brushing your teeth, putting on makeup, brushing your hair, like zipping your pants, wiping your ass. Like there's literally so many things that your hands are needed for: driving a car, walking your dog, cooking food, opening jars. All of those things I wasn't able to do because I got such severe carpal tunnel that literally lasted years. So don't be like me. Don't continually say yes and yes and yes to projects because of money. Money is not worth your health, okay? And you are going to spend way more money in the end trying to fix your health issues than if you would have just said no to a couple of projects. For me in particular, I was primarily focused in animal portraiture, and that involved a lot of this motion with my wrist to get each and every single strand of fur. And I was also resting my forearm on my desk edge, and that put a lot of pressure onto the carpal tunnel nerve, which contributed to the issues that I was having, and this is ultimately why I left digital art. Since switching to oil painting, my health has been so much better. Number one, you have the possibility of painting outside in broad daylight, which you literally can't do with digital art. Like, yes, maybe you can bring your iPad or your computer to a cafe somewhere, but you're still gonna be inside under fluorescent lights. And that's just, with oil painting, you can work more slowly just because of the nature of oil paint. It has a drying time you have to take into consideration. So it forces you to slow down, and it also doesn't involve so much motion of the wrist, because a technical oil painter is going to paint through the elbow and the shoulder and not the wrist. It's like a ballet swan motion and not... In oil painting, you're also obviously not looking at any blue light, but you're probably working at an easel, which means you can easily, I didn't do that on purpose, but you can easily raise your easel up or down so you can stand up to work, which is pretty cool. You're also typically farther away from your art than you would be digital art. And a long-handled brush will help to create some of that distance, and you can also use a maul stick to balance your arm safely to avoid shakiness, which I find is just like a nice accommodation. It's a nice accommodation, especially for me. I have a neurological condition that causes hand tremors, hand spasms, and just overall shakiness. So a maul stick is like an accessibility tool almost that I really recommend. If you are a career digital artist, or you're just fully committed as a hobbyist to digital art and you don't want to give it up or switch to oil painting the way I did, number one, I fully understand. Digital art had my heart and soul, and if it wasn't for my health issues, I probably would have never given it up. But here are some things you can build into your practice to help mitigate or avoid some of these health issues. Number one, before you start creating, whether you're a digital artist or a traditional artist, I recommend eating, because it is so easy to forget food when you are in the zone, which hopefully you are getting into. So eat before you create. That is rule number one. Keep some water at your desk or your station, and maybe some packets of electrolytes. This is just overall a good practice. The second thing is going to be to do warm-ups. As I said, you are technically an athlete. Maybe not coordinated, but you are definitely working some muscles and you need to warm them up. Go ahead and do some wrist spins. I know these because I went to physical therapy for my carpal tunnel. You're gonna shake it out. Ooh, I know, it's so weird. All right, and then some pulses like this. Don't do too many, just, you know, a couple. And this one in particular is going to really stretch open this part of your arm, which is the most important part. So do a couple of those stretches before you start painting or digitally creating. The next thing I recommend is going to be the 20-20-20 rule. You may have already heard of this, but essentially you're going to set a timer when you start creating for 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes you're going to stop, look 20 feet away, and keep looking 20 feet away for 20 seconds. And this is going to readjust and reset your eyes, help to avoid getting migraines. Additionally, what I do, which is not that, because I can't remember to do it. I do like a break, a 10 to 15 minute break every 30 minutes to an hour. I go outside, I play with my dogs. That helps my mental health, it helps my animals, I accomplish more in the day. It allows me the opportunity to come back and look at my painting and be like, oh my God, it's actually not hideous. Why am I crying? If you have a really heavy duty digital pen display like I do, I have the Huion 24-inch 4K digital pen display. I would recommend investing in a free arm stand so that you can move it where you need to, so that it's more accessible for you, and hopefully in a place where you're not forced to rest your arm on the edge of your desk. However, if you're going to rest your arm on your edge of your desk, get a wrist pad or a pillow to cushion that. Make sure you invest in the highest possible strength blue light blocking glasses. You're absolutely going to need them. Is it going to alter the perception of colors? Yes, but you can take them off in post when you're like doing the final editing or filter of whatever it is you're creating and fix those things then. But during the actual creation process, make sure you have blue light blocking glasses on, and even put your night shift on your computer, okay? Turn it to the brightest orange you possibly can, in all honesty. Just like sunset mode, full send. Migraines are not worth it. They're not, okay? Instead of using a mouse like this, get an ergonomic mouse. You can drink turmeric tea and put in a CBD honey stick into the turmeric tea to avoid inflammation or lessen current inflammation. I found that helped me a lot during the height of my carpal tunnel issues. And also a CBD infused hand cream. You may even consider investing in a standing desk or getting one of those walking pads for under your desk. That's just going to be good for overall heart health, muscle atrophy, and mental health. Most importantly though, consider limiting how much time you're spending on a screen. If you can't limit exactly how much time you need to spend on a screen, at least spread it out as far as possible, please. Okay, please. That's it. I hope you found this video informative and that you stay as healthy as possible when creating. If you didn't, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe for more art content. Bye.